Ladies and gentlemen, our corrupted countdown continues. Though a detour from the holy holiday, these two suborned spectacles are just as frightening and just as frightening as any that have bawled and brawled before. Our first contestant has made its bed and will sleep when it's dead. It's Monsters. And with a mighty challenger who thinks it's emo to screamo, we challenge you to put up your spoons.
This is We Bleed Orange and Black, the podcast for Halloween and horror lovers. Join us as we interview creators, discuss our favorite horror, and share original spooky stories. I'm Jeff, repping the 80s.
I'm Ryan, repping the 90s. This week's theme:
Scream Dreams.
My episode this week, Boy Meets World, and then there was Shawn. Apparently a very famous episode. Jeff, you found a warp zone to Eric's full-on cartoon transformation.
I remember you saying that Eric became something less and more than human as the show went on. I have only seen the werewolf episode, so I was like, is that the guy? Is that the brother? I'm not sure who this guy is, but he's hilarious. I'm loving it.
Oh yeah, he only got funnier as time wore on. Corey and Topanga have broken up, and this happened a couple of times on the show. And I think this was the time when Corey went on a ski vacation and kind of fell in love with Lauren, the worker at the ski lodge, who was played by that girl from Freaks and Geeks whose name I can never remember.
Some important context, thank you.
She was always, and she was also in Good Burger. Shawn is not taking the breakup well. Corey has taken Shawn's seat one seat away as a buffer between him and Topanga. They have a little conversation about how much they're creeping on Topanga, basically totally within earshot. Every conversation in this show is within easy earshot of everyone else. Okay, a guy named Kenny asks to borrow Topanga's giant pencil, and Shawn flips out. He's like, I know what that means. You can't have it, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Feeney is totally over all the CW drama, and he's getting really angry about it. Angrier than I think he ever gets in any other episode. Corey and Topanga argue.
I didn't stab him. He stabbed me.
Oh, I'd stab myself before I'd stab you. Kenny, give me that pencil.
I don't have one.
A lot of good pencil business. Mr. Feeney threatens everyone with detention if there's one more outburst or weird thing happens. And then this creepy janitor walks in and points at everyone like a harbinger. That's enough to cause Mr. Feeney to give the entire class detention. So it's after hours. They're all in detention, including Kenny. Mr. Feeney is like, you got an hour and a half, no talking. He leaves and locks them in. The creepy janitor is watching them through the window, but he refuses to unlock the door for them, and then he goes away. Suddenly, the map rolls itself up, and there's a bloody sign painted across the blackboard. No one gets out alive. Angela screams. Shawn thinks, hey, it's Feeney. He's hoaxing us to teach us a lesson, because he always does elaborate lessons for the core group. Shawn knows all the rules of all the horror movies that have ever been, and so he knows that Kenny will be the first to die.
Why me?
Well, Kenny, it's certainly not going to be any of us. What are you doing?
They hear a heartbeat knocking against the door, and Shawn is like, I know that something awful will be opening this door right now. And Eric, older brother, and his roommate Jack opens the door and does a South Park impression. Was so crazy to me because it shows me how old South Park is. In my mind, Boy Meets World is ancient. It went off the air in 2000, and South Park is still going.
It was so weird to be watching this old show and see that they were slipping in multiple South Park references, but also, yes, this kind of dates the show to a very specific time, but I thought it was a testament to how madcap this episode was, that it could match South Park energy. It didn't derail the whole episode by this one guy doing South Park references. It was like, that fits and it works, and
it did work, but it is South Park is at the height of its powers. They're just going to do South Park references.
Oh my gosh! They killed Kenny!
They're like, oh yeah, we just felt like coming to the old school. We missed the old locker room. And then Jack is like, oh yeah, that creepy janitor was down there and just pushing his creaky cart and emptying the garbage cans.
Well, that's not so creepy.
Oh, and there was blood coming out of the showers.
I do want to give a shout out to the creepy janitor who was Freddy. It said Freddy on his name tag. And as he was pushing the cart, it had squeaky wheels that were, so when they could hear it outside, it sounded like Freddy Krueger's nails.
Just then a gloved hand reaches in and turns out the light. Angela screams, running gag. The lights come back on, and Kenny is impaled through the brain with the giant pencil. It's pretty gory, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And he slides down the wall and leaves a lead pencil mark.
We'll always remember he was that tall.
That was so inspired. It was an extra level of gruesomeness because the pencil went all the way out the back of his skull.
No blood on the wall.
No blood on the wall. And then the tag on it will always remember he was this tall. I say it a lot, but god damn, this episode is really firing on all cylinders. And
It may have redeemed the multi-camera sitcom in my eyes.
Many people say this is the best episode ever of Boy Meets World.
Which is amazing because there is some emotion in there, but really mostly they were just goofing on horror tropes and like having a good time.
Yeah, you could tell there was a lot of love for the material in this, and it was also peak Scream slasher. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I'm just going to say it. Hella 90s high.
Hella 90s high.
So they all scream and run out into the hallway. This great little ditty plays.
Welcome to John Adams High, where you are gonna die.
Not hella 90s, but hella 40s, perhaps. And they're like, well, we got to get out of here. And Shawn is like, you can't. All the doors are chained and locked. And then they run and check all the doors. They are chained and locked. Shawn is like, I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm the horror movie master. The lights are going to flicker. There's going to be a cloaked figure running back and forth behind us, and all that stuff happens. And then he's like, Mr. Feeney's gonna appear and reveal his master plan. The lights flicker, and then Mr. Feeney does appear, but instead of revealing his master plan, he falls over face first onto the floor, impaled in the back with scissors.
His own scissors.
And now Shawn doesn't know the rules anymore. He is totally lost. So Angela wants everyone to split up. He does say no to that. Corey says it's obviously the janitor. And then Shawn is like, great, now the janitor's dead. You've just killed him. There's like a little scuffle, and Shawn is like, you shouldn't have broke up with Corey, Topanga. None of this was happening while you two were together. So remember that. They hear this janitor's squeaky cart, and they're like, we can't go out there. But then they do run out into the hallway, and the cart rolls by without the janitor, but they do find the janitor dead in amongst the piles of retainers.
That line really got me. When they look inside the cart with the dead body, and Corey's like, oh god, there's like 14 retainers in there.
The cloaked figure runs by in the background. It has a skull face too. They figure there has to be someone else in the school since they are starting to accuse each other, and they know it can't be any of them. And Eric is like, well, I'll stay out here as bait, I guess, because I'm the oldest. And they're like, well, you're actually not the oldest, but they leave him out there alone anyways. Jennifer Love Hewitt shows up playing the role of Jennifer Love Pfefferman. Eric immediately Sekuharas her.
That's assault, brother.
Heavy petting and making out. And after I watched this episode for like the second time, I was like, oh, wait a minute, weren't they dating around this time in real life? And so I looked it up, and they were in fact dating in real life when they filmed this episode.
This was a whole thing. I had no idea that these two were dating. I did know that this was highly unusual. The amount of raw sexual chemistry and aggressive face sucking they were doing, and I was like, I don't know if this was planned or unplanned or what is going on. And I was like, I'm gonna look this up, and apparently, yes, they were dating. That was a famous scene that freaked a lot of people out because people were like, what the hell was that?
I think it probably freaked more people out on podcasts in retrospect.
Apparently, from what I've read, even the cast was like, oh my gosh, this was not in the script, and it was super awkward.
Well, there's a Boy Meets World podcast that they're doing right now, or they've done in the last couple of years, and that's probably where that's coming from.
But I must say, I've never seen two teenagers get down like this in a sitcom before. Like
it was pretty shocking.
It's hot.
I'm so sad. There's so many probably important things from that time period that I don't remember. But somewhere rattling around in my brain was still the fact that Will Friedle and Jennifer Love Hewitt were dating. But, the brain wants what it wants.
I feel like that's one of those core memories that Inside Out style, if you lost that, your whole personality would crumble. I mean, what little personality you have, yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot left. Anyway, he's like, I believe that you're not the killer. So everyone regroups. Jennifer Love Pfefferman and Angela have a scream off. They get a phone call on the payphone.
Do you like scary movies? What's your favorite?
Ooh, okay. Well, I like that one with the hottie hot hot from Party of Five.
Nev Campbell?
Duh. Guys, we can use the phone to help us. That's a great idea, because when we find out who the killer is, we can hit him with this.
Eric rips the cord out of the phone, but it still rings, and the killer still talks to him. And he's like, yeah, killer said he wants to come here, wants to kill us, he wants us to wait right here. So they all run away. Visual gag of Eric trying to get his quarter out of the payphone.
Hanging up the severed phone and trying to get the quarter.
You really have to just watch the episode.
Yeah, even when he's talking to the killer, he's like rolling his eyes. And he's like, oh, God, this guy won't shut up.
Against Shawn's greater instincts, they do split up. There is actually another really nice visual gag where they call her Feffy, so I'm going to call her Feffy. Feffy and Corey are in the bookshelves in the library, and she's like comforting him, and Topanga's like walking backwards, giving them daggers in the background. The killer pushes the books on top of Feffy. She's like, Eric, I know who the killer is, but then the killer pushes books on top of Eric. Jack, he's like, I can't pay my rent anymore, and he goes to jump out the window. Angela stops him and brings him back off the ledge, but the killer pushes them both out the window. Now only the core trio is left. The killer confronts all three of them, Corey, Shawn, and Topanga. He puts Corey and Topanga's hands together, and then Shawn unmasks himself. Shawn wakes up in detention. Shawn sort of like takes the blame for the disruption of the class. He goes, Corey and Topanga have been together since before I knew them, which we know, even you know, is not true, because in the only other episode we've covered, they weren't together. They did kiss at the end. But in season 1, they thought Topanga was the weirdest weirdo that ever weirded. They hated her fucking weird curly-haired guts. For the rest of the series, they were constantly talking about how Corey and Topanga were together in the womb, like they've always been together, and it's just not so. So, he takes the blame, and Feeney's like, you know what? For the first time, something bad happened, and it's not your fault, Shawn. And he's like, thanks, Mr. Feeney. So detention's dismissed, everyone leaves, but the killer emerges from behind the 90s CRT PC. Dun dun dun. And then credits roll. But there's a little more. Mr. Feeney is guiding all of his students to perfection. They're all geniuses, but he's dreaming, and they're all maniacs and monsters. I don't know if he dreamed of Shawn dreaming a killer dream and then waking up and then seeing the killer do a little final spook until he woke up, but probably the end.
How many levels deep are we? Was this all in Feeney's mind? Is this a Feeney's ladder scenario?
As his brain slowly dementifies.
The mind
Boigles. Because Boy Meets World and Boggles. I'm leaving it in.
Very
Cut,
good.
print. That's a wrap.
What an incredible episode. Before we started rolling, I was telling Ryan that I'd come down with a psychosomatic illness. My wife had the flu, and when she told me, I started to feel really ill, and then I watched this episode and I was completely cured because it made me so happy. It was so good. This is the second and last episode of Boy Meets World that I will ever see, and it joins the pantheon of great alternate reality shows like Family Matters, where to me these are just pure horror-based shows. And I gotta tell you, I'm loving it over here. It's great.
Here's a knife, here's a gun, there'll be fun for everyone. Death is on the menu tonight.
My episode is Monsters, Perchance to Dream. We start with a fly-through of a dark and stormy model of a city into a college dorm, and I'm already charmed. They've made like a little model city, and they're
a lot of
through.
Charming little models in this episode.
A young man, Alex, is studying at his desk when suddenly a book titled The Complete Book of Dreams starts snarling and snapping at him in a fun bit of stop-motion animation. Another student, Megan, comes in, and he shows her the aggressive book. She not only sees it, but she says, "Things are getting worse." That's right. We're in media res, people. Alex tells her not to sit in the chair that drips blood and points out the softball trophy embedded in the wall that almost killed him. He explains that
2 weeks since a mugger knocked me on the head. I haven't been able to sleep 1 minute. I'm losing my mind. And that's the only explanation. I'm hallucinating.
You're not hallucinating, Alex. I see this stuff too.
he rightly worries that the fact that Megan sees these things too might not be proof, because if he's delusional, he could be imagining her too. Which, when you think about it, is a clever bit of writing and metacognition, which we usually don't get. Usually, in some kind of show or scenario like this, someone will say, do you see it too? And they're like, uh-huh, okay, it must be real. Not really.
Yeah.
If you're seeing things, you can also be seeing people that confirm.
Yeah, pretty much until the end of the episode, I was like, she could still be a dream manifestation. And
Yeah.
so could the doctor, blah, blah, blah.
100%. Megan tries to prove she's real by making out with him.
That's definitely a dream manifestation.
A subway train rattles past the windows, shaking the room. Megan runs off to get help from some guy who knows about weird stuff.
And by the way,
Yeah?
he and Megan both know everything about everything. They have all the answers.
Nice, tight storytelling. Another scene appears outside his window. It's a young Alex in school while a menacing nun slaps a ruler in her hand. She becomes a giant nun and busts her giant nun arm through the window to smash him with her giant nun ruler. Megan comes back with the Poindexter and he sees the giant nun too. His theory, dreams are our way of dealing with our dark side. Because Alex's brain broke when he was mugged, all the pent-up fear and rage is leaking into the world. It's also clear to him that Alex is Catholic. The wall splits open and sprays them with random junk. It's a portal to the dream world.
Well, let me get this right. You're saying that that crack leads to the land of my dreams? Yes. And that you can enter it and maybe find a way to put a stop to all this.
Before Alex can enter to find his dream doppelganger and stop the chaos, the floor collapses and drops him and Megan into the dream world. There's another fly-through of a model, this one a spooky landscape of random junk. They land in a room full of Alex's childhood memories.
It's a number 2 pencil. I always use number 2 pencils. Hey, crayons. I love crayons.
Oddly, there's also a storage locker where Alex keeps his wet dreams. He opens the locker and sees Megan gyrating in a sopping wet dress.
That's assault, brother.
Ryan, you're always bagging on monsters in Tales from the Dark Side because they're shot in a single location. Surely this episode was some kind of redemption with all these fantastical dreamscapes made out of random junk.
You know, I thought it was a weird episode because it was almost plotless, but I like trippy, weird, dreamy stuff. And yeah, they had all these great models and all these great weird cobbled sets and stuff. So I really enjoyed it on a visual level.
Yeah, a lot of comps, a lot of dreamscapes.
Good smoke, good lighting.
Good smoke and lighting, and it functioned on dream logic, which we'll talk about more. So a giant nun-sized hand swings a giant nun-sized switchblade at them. So they jump into a smoky pit and find themselves by a giant nun-sized boombox. Totally 80s points secured.
Oh yeah, I wrote it down.
The mugger from the subway is there, and he is straight out of central casting. He's got the leather jacket, the bandana, the Bluto beard. He's at the controls of a giant train set, and he's trying to run them down with his subway train. The mugger appears in normal size, so Alex follows him into the subway station. What follows is a wonderful bit of pantomime as the actors attempt to walk across the set and do that thing where they pretend they're descending stairs. If you go back and watch it, it is so funny because they're not all equally talented at bending their knees and pantomiming the act of going into the stairs. Alex challenges the mugger, but the mugger beats the shit out of him. Not only that, the mugger has drained Alex's very life force. Megan explains that the mugger is the irrational part of Alex. He can't be destroyed. He can only be accepted.
This is why I thought Megan was a dream construct, because she was like, this is what you got to do and this is what's happening, and it turned out to be correct.
But also Alex is like, I feel like this is right. I feel like I need to go into the dream world and find my doppelganger. But the Poindexter made such a point about you will see doppelgangers in the dream world, and I was like, okay, obviously there's going to be like a copy of Megan or something like that. Alex gives the mugger a giant nun-sized hug and becomes fully integrated. Now all they have to do is run the episode in reverse, and everything can go back to normal. The nerdy professor wants Alex to document everything he's experienced, but Megan kicks him out. She's waited long enough. She rips off her shirt and jumps on the bed. Unfortunately, Alex is fast asleep. The opening fly-through of the campus model is played in reverse, and we're done.
I thought it was funny that it was like, face your fears, and one of his fears was like a blood chair. I don't know what that represents.
Yeah, I didn't want to think too deep about that.
But I also think he still needs to go and find the real subway mugger and kill him to be fully complete as a human.
I mean, even in his dreams, this mugger beats the shit out of him, so I don't think Alex has too much of a chance in real life. I don't know if I just fixated on this. I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a poster of Nina Cherry.
Which I don't know who that is. So I was like, who? I don't understand this poster.
Okay. Nina Cherry was a hip-hop star in the mid to late 80s. And Alex has a poster of her on his wall that is so incredibly prominent that I was sure she was going to come out of the poster at some point. Because, like, his imagination was so fertile. They kept putting it in every shot. And it was so, like, crystal clear that I was like, oh, I guess because, like, all of his dreams are popping into reality, I guess someone's going to come out of this poster. It never happened, but it sent me down a deep rabbit hole about Nina Cherry. I had no idea she was Swedish. Her most famous song is Buffalo Stance. I invite you all, nay, command you all to check out the music video. It is as trippy as anything that happened in my episode.
We always hang in a Buffalo Stance. Baby, not romance. I make a move, nothing left to chance. So don't you get fresh with me.
All right, let's get into some ratings. Body count for my episode, 0. For your episode?
It was all in the dream world, but it was still high. There's 7. Body count 7.
Does it count in the dream? Because famously, we do not count off-screen.
I mean, these were grisly on-screen deaths.
I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Scare factor for And Then There Was Shawn.
Good and scary.
No, it wasn't.
Good and night. No, it wasn't. It was just pure funny.
pure funny. Scare factor for my episode, I think when the giant nun arm busted into the window, I was like,
sort of scary in the beginning when you didn't really know what was happening.
Yeah, I'll give that a mid. The chair that dripped blood, come on.
Get that colonoscopy, Alex. Or whatever your name is.
Gross factor for Boy Meets World.
Not that gross, I guess.
Yeah, some pretty dry kills.
And some dry humping.
For my episode, I'm going to say 0. What the factor? How would you rate that? And Then There Was Shawn, because it was surreal and shocking, but also every payoff was set up so well. They're like, someone's gonna die in 3, 2, 1.
Yours had that more trippy, surreal dream logic. Although even in that situation, you're like, well, okay, this is dream world, so we know it's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah.
Was there anything where you, well, but then again, in your episode, it had the what the factor of like, why isn't anything that is supposed to be happening? Like, where are they going with this? They don't get grabbed through the wall. They don't go through the crack. They don't, whatever the other thing you said.
There wasn't a doppelganger of Megan and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was no doppelganger.
You know...
A little bit of what the factor in yours. It certainly ekes out Boy Meets World.
It didn't bump me so much that I feel like it deserves a what the factor, because that was all what the factor by omission.
Okay, wash the factor.
I'm gonna zero that out. Totally 80s.
You had the boombox and the switchblade and the leather jacket biker thug.
And the Nina Cherry poster and the Paul Abdul poster. It was pretty 80s, but can that really compete?
No.
With the hella 90s going on in Boy Meets World, I don't think
even
so.
the addition of Jennifer Love Hewitt, who I know is still acting, but like, let's be real here.
Yeah, incredible. Theme of Scream Dream.
I think it's pretty good for both.
It's a tie-on theme. I'm taking Scare Factor. However, with body count and hella 90s, it's gotta be Boy Meets World, And Then There Was Shawn.
I'm on a freaking roll, and I mean freaking as in freaking me out.
It's an all-timer, well-deserved. So glad we finally got to watch it.
Sorry we cheated on the Halloween thing, but you're welcome anyway.
I could not find a match for Boy Meets World. I watched an episode of Hunter, an episode of Fantasy Island, an episode of MacGyver, an episode of Square Pegs, and the 2-part Halloween special for the Jeffersons. They were all Halloween-y. They all had masks. They all had parties.
Well, you nailed it.
But you know what? It was the best kind of homework. I was laughing the whole away.
See, wasting your life in front of the TV can be a good thing.
So both of these episodes were about going into the dream world or being trapped in a dream. So I thought, we often talk about like survival tips and things to prepare you for being lost in the wilderness or different situations. What would you do? I have some tips in case this happens to you. This is how to lucid dream in 4 simple steps from the Mind Valley blog. Step 1, the reality testing technique. Reality testing is a type of mental training to build lucid dreaming muscles. It increases metacognition, the ability to think or notice one's thinking, by slowly but surely training your mind to notice your awareness. The more developed your metacognitive skills are when you're awake, the more developed they'll be when you're dreaming. One method is the weird technique. Every time something weird happens around you, ask yourself, am I dreaming? Then look at your hand twice in a row and become aware of its details. So a brief excerpt from Tim Ferriss's blog post about lucid dreaming. There are a few things that will change if you look away and look back at them. So anything that has a fixed reality to them, like text, written signs, stop signs, words on a page, because your mind is sort of just freely generating this imagery, there is no fixed point of reference. So if you look away and look back at a book, the words will be different, or the words will be all squiggly, the stop sign won't be the same. One thing that people like to use for this is digital watches or digital clocks. If you look at the time, look away, and look back, the time won't be the same.
Oh my god, it was 12 and now it's 12:01.
He does make a really interesting footnote here, is that analog clocks don't suffer from this effect, which is really cool.
They do run backwards sometimes, however.
And sometimes they melt, like in
Salvador Dali paintings.
And Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. And the other thing, which is sort of an extension of the first two, is complex patterns. Look at brickwork or tile patterns and see if they change. Okay, back to the main blog journal here. Step 2, keep a dream journal. When you wake up, instantly write down everything you can remember about your dreams. You'll start to remember your dreams and recognize patterns in dream lucidity will increase. Step 3, the back to bed technique. The WBTB technique is to enter REM sleep while you're semi-conscious to make it easier to control your dreams. There are 5 parts of the WBTB hack. Set an alarm for 5 hours after you go to bed. Go to sleep. When the alarm goes off, stay alert for 15 to 30 minutes. Go back to sleep and have vivid dreams.
You know that is literal torture.
I was really thinking, what a horrible way to absolutely wreck your health. Step 4, create a dream plan. Write down what you want to dream about in your dream journal before you go to sleep. Describe what will happen, how it will feel, and how it will end. Happily, I hope.
Happy ending. That's the best kind of dream.
And we got there.
Up top!
Because I went out and watched like 5 or 6 different episodes, and, we all have rose glasses. But looking back at all these different episodes from the 70s and 80s and 90s, it really struck me. And I know, this is sitcom, this is TV, this is pure artifice. These are actors. None of this is meant to reflect reality. But still, honestly, go back and watch some of these shows. There's like a lightness. There's an easiness. There's just a buoyancy and an innocence. Go back and watch this 2-part episode of The Jeffersons. And it's just like pure joy.
Yeah, well, the horrors of the world hadn't yet been revealed to us.
I also think there was another external factor on our national character, which was this was pre-social media.
Right.
And it is so amazing to watch these episodes where there's just a breath and an air and a lightness.
Nostalgia it's a double-edged sword.
See my panel on Nostalgia Horror.
On the We Bleed Orange and Black podcast. Available right here.
Which you are listening to right now.
I'm in a rerun for my life.